train of thought because it's very simple and I want to get it out in one fucking rip so that when I have to go back and look at it later, I can be able to say whatever the fuck I need to say. Whatever the fuck I need to fucking put over this shit. So it's very fucking simple. This is how you fix Steven Universe as a series. Very, very easy. Rather than Steven being a little bitch baby, instead you make the thing that he's hung up on be the relation to his mother, relation to his mom, caring about his mom and everything to do with her, about rose quartz and having her enigmatic powers as a gem and blah 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 blah. And make his powers connect to his emotions tied to her. When he's tumultuous, he can't control them. When he's emotional, he can't control them. When he's emotional but wants to be reasonable with them, he can control them, but it's finicky. He starts to learn to get more control over the series as he goes through and learns more about her and her backstory, and as he learns details from other people, and more importantly, as other people in the town discuss her. And this then correlates against my idea of giving him a proper fucking villain, anti-villain foil in the form of a person who's from Homeworld, who is either half human, half gem, or is all gem, but lives like a human to understand more about humanity. Does not like being in the gem Homeworld society of Era 2, leading into Era 3, because he doesn't trust it to actually be useful, because he doesn't see how anything will change. Has to do with the idea of the fucking image song that I'd pick for this character if I got to name them. And it'd be Life, Science, and ABCs. Very simple song, made by Professor Saigai. It's very, very short. It's very sweet and to the point. Which is namely, it's a song that has a coda that always returns to the line of A through Z repeated twice, and then Z through A repeated twice, with then pairing letters into then a finishing rhyme. Namely being, the hook being itself, I just want to learn enough to concern and that I to find out what I perceive between things I do and don't believe. All I have is time and an infinite mind. All I need is science, life, and ABCs. Expressing an idea of wanting to understand what is life out there in human life with other people and bullshit and things like that. But this is not what's going to happen with that character because his character is going to either become a megalomaniac if you want to go outright. This man's a bigot route because he's being taught by White Diamond, or he goes he's a reasonable character, but at the same time, I don't trust him because he's got an ego and he wants to control shit, but it's all part of a ruse. Which then goes back to nature versus nurture. Make this character actually work and function because it's nothing but anime character tropes, but not done wholesome because she doesn't actually watch the shows. She just picks up the memes so that people can say, "Ooh, I recognize that." The point is, you make him a foil to Steven. The more that he learns about Homeworld, the more Steven learns about Rose Quartz slash Pink Diamond, the more Steven gets control of his powers, and the more erratic this foil character, which I would name Lester, was short for Lackluster slash Blood Diamond, literally being the product of basic slave labor and gem harvesting, forcing it either into a human that then gains gem-like abilities, or being the actual union between a gem, because the same thing that Rose Quartz did, but instead he's not born of any of the actual diamonds. Certainly not fucking White Diamond, who I would insist he would call shorthand Mother Zirconium, because she would actually be the matriarchal one that he reports to, and the rest of them are like his big sisters slash fucking aunts or some shit.
You picked up on the motherload pun too. I'm surprised they never used that. It seems extremely obvious.
I don't know. She probably couldn't have been able to do it or something, because I think Motherload is probably copyrighted for Capcom or
How?
something. Has to do with fucking
How?
how because
How is
of
motherload copyrighted? It's a term.
because of Mega Man Legends 2. I don't know. Copyright is stupid. Anyways, make him a child of Era 2, or specifically a child of like the intermediate point between Era 2 and Era 3, because Era 3 begins when he comes back to the actual Empire and White Diamond's just trying to live through this fucking pearl and shit. But you make this character his foil back on Homeworld. The more Steven learns on Earth, the more he learns on Homeworld, the better he becomes. Or the worse he becomes as a character. You start to see the dimensions. He starts out very wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, very happy to see about what's in the world. Either he's the product of being a human born from one of the humans in a zoo, because they have humans out there, and they have a child, and then that child is then forcibly made to internalize an unnatural gem created of multiple gem shards forced into an onyx casing. which then creates the split personality between Lackluster and Blood Diamond. A very lethal, very loyal assassin that does anything that his mother Zirconium tells him to. And Lester, if he's given a proper human name, because, Lackluster sounds like Lester if you slur your words enough, he learns to have a separation between his duties as a member of the Gem homeworld, and then, and this is the thing that actually makes him useful and interesting, you make them the actual only canonical male Gem. This creates a very big problem, and that is, with two male Gems, both reflectant of the societies that they live in, and both reflectant of not only how do the societies treat women, but how do they treat men, where he is the only male, the only gendered Gem that recognizes themselves as gendered, because they use genders all the time in a Steven Universe, especially for the Gems themselves, calling them her and she and shit, but not important. If you're a good writer and you pay attention to that kind of shit, you take that character, make that character work by making him somebody who actually uses the gendered pronouns he and him. You show how nobody cares he's even there and that they even exist. Thus, bringing up the point I did earlier on the broadcast with Amy, which was the problem with Magneto's character, because his point is applicable to the struggle for civil rights. You make the nature versus nurture question a very simple one of what happens when you give somebody plenty of support and affection and care and understanding and love to develop as a normal human child, and what happens when you treat somebody like they are a servant. Eventually, what would happen, if I was the writer of that story, is you would end up with a man who becomes cynical. The Empire is broken. There is no way that it can be unbroken, because as long as you have a super overhead matriarch who doesn't want to listen and believes everything must reflect her perfection from the way down, to the point she's willing to corrupt the minds of others, this man will become headstrong. He will learn to be duplicitous, to keep secrets, and to simply learn how to use two faces. If you involve him, where I would introduce this character, in the original timeline of Steven Universe TV Final, because Steven Universe Future is very much a sequel series. It is not a continuation of Steven Universe, and anyone who tells that lie is a fucking idiot. I don't believe you, you're dumb. If you keep this character part of the original timeline of the show, when you insert him as the way that they get off of Homeworld. This gem human person comes out of nowhere and is like, hey, let me help you get out of here. You're not going to make it back to the shipyards. You're not going to make it back to how you got here, but I can get you out. I got an escape route. He gives them a ship, and they get back. And it just so happens to be that they keep that ship. So you can still have your stupid-ass Lars Beeblebrox. Because that character's not the same either. He gets him off of the homeworld. Sends him away. He's confronted either by the White Pearl, or by White Diamond herself, asking, why did you let them leave? And he turns around. Reveals his face, because maybe he shows his face to them to say, hey, you can trust me, no gem on me, see? And he turns around, he takes off his cloak, hands it to whatever servant Pearl serves her. He's like, it was an investment. Don't worry, I'll get them back. Reveals that his gem is actually in the center of his chest, hidden under his clothing. He has an actual black fucking onyx gem for a heart. So he's black-hearted. Puns! But, black-hearted. Evil person. Duplicitous by nature. Enough for the kids to be able to say, oh no, he's a mean guy. But you clearly see, in his Emmons song, if he's given one, as he goes down to Earth once he's resituated after message received, because that's when that character should then actually make an appearance on Earth, he says, hey, Steven, hey, cool, look, it's me. And what instead they see is this ship coming from Homeworld that's obvious of Homeworld origins, and they're trying to fight him. And as they try to ask, who are you? Where did you come from? Why are you here? Are you part of the Diamonds? He does a stupid-ass image song. The point of the image song, and the lyrics, could be interpreted as, throughout his life, he has lived nothing but a life of hardship, being abused by the Gem Empire. And in the Diamond Authority, he has witnessed countless of organic and inorganic life bend to the will of the star. And rather than serving White Diamond as a servant slave for the rest of his life, if he even lives that long, because he's an experiment. Who knows what will fucking happen to him? Even if he were to live that long, he does not like his life, he does not like his station in life, he does not like anything about what he is involved in. So instead, he wants to see what would happen if he just simply goes out and sees what's out there in the world. Because if Steven was on Homeworld and he knows Steven must be must be related to White Diamond, because how else did he get here? Where did he come from? Couldn't be unless he was somehow related to Pink Diamond. He's of course heard about Pink Diamond. He's heard all about Pink Diamond from Blue and Yellow and White. This character, he learns a lot about them, but he doesn't have Steven's abilities. He can't see dreams and shit. He doesn't know the back lore of the crystal gems. So he comes down, hearing about them, and how he's talking all this shit to all these off-colors that lives in the tunnels underneath the Authority, about how there's gems on Homeworld that aren't like them. And hey, I want to see that. So, he does an exploratory mission as a part of a wish from White Diamond, but also on his whim to see, do they have what it takes to take down White Diamond? And what he sees is promising. So he hangs out with Steven, tells Steven his dreams, his goals, his desires. He asks him, hey, have you ever thought about being able to have a life outside of this? What it would be like if you weren't involved with any of this? Had a normal life? And he shows that he's not all evil, not all good either. He's a very interesting character with multiple facets. Puns. They're so easy. They're so easy. But add to, skip a few, 99, 100, you're at the end of the series. PP1 at least. So right around the time of Change My Mind and things like that. Lester, lackluster, Black Blood Diamond. He's there at Homeworld during their fucking coronation dinner and shit. You know, the dance. Everything goes down as it normally happens. And instead of them trying to spring their way out the way that they do, he breaks them out. He helps them get together with White and Blue and convinces them and says, listen, it's enough. No more. This needs to stop. We have to find a better way. There is a better way. And, you know, set up all this shit and make it, oh no, Lester, he's gonna help them. And then instead, whoosh, double cross. Traps them all. Make sure that they get controlled by White Diamond. Same shit that happens normally. And even let Steven get his gems still get pulled out. Or whatever. But rather than the dumbass ending where it's like, but I'm not a child. And like, yes you are. I am a child. What's your excuse? No, none of that shit. Instead, have Lester double cross the double cross. Sort of triple cross. Have him double cross White Diamond. Here's how you do this. When Bismuth comes to Homeworld, have her bring the breaking point. And have this episode where it happens be titled, in this specific moment, as Blood Diamond's Breaking Point. Where he takes the breaking point, he arms himself with it, and he suggests to White Diamond, no, don't try to change him. He is who he is. Rose is gone, but he's here. Why not subject him to the pain of losing something? Why not make him suffer before you really make him die? This even universe would probably not use the word die, but destroy, disapparate, shatter, shatters gem, whatever, whoever knows. Because clearly Steven cherishes his connection to his mother, which means his gem. So even though it might pain her, yeah, of course, this isn't her. It clearly can't be her. Even if it is the gem. If she's gone and all's left is her child, then he needs to see the wrath of the Diamond Authority. Put him in line. Show him who's boss. So, he suggests to his Mother Zirconium, Mother Zirconium, please, this whelp isn't worth your time. Allow me to carry out your will. And he takes this gem, this gem of his, goes into whatever combat form he has, because of course he's going to have two different forms. You're going to have this sweet, nice, soft boy who looks exactly like Steven, or kind of like Steven, comparatively speaking. Not the same facial structure, not the same character design, but it's close enough. You get what I'm saying. And then you have this big hulking design that's like half the size of what you'd expect of the diamonds. So take Steven's size, make him about 9 feet tall or so, comparatively. Basically make him like slightly taller than Garnet.
Monster form, essentially.
Basically make him like tall, about as tall, if not taller. Diminutively, kind of a giant. Have him take this breaking point. Have him then step in front of White Diamond and say, "Okay, here's how we make him suffer." And he aims the breaking point right at his gem. And White Diamond says, "What are you doing?" Like, "I'm showing you exactly what you need to do to him. Because clearly, I don't think you seem to understand, White Diamond. This man is not your enemy. I'm your enemy. Whatever the fuck."
So, I borked out my computer noms, and now there is, GPU is not showing up in device manager.
Damn, no fence.
So I guess no more stream.
No, I'll getting back to the stream. I just need to download the latest drivers because I have just formatted the VBIOS on this card and redid the whole damn thing again. So
groovy. I'm kind of like.
It could be the cracked PCB, but not betting on it.
Okay.
Might as well try what you can first before, if you want to save it.
I'm also like low key like recording this dumbass answer that I had to try to explain this thing about Steven Universe. If you want to mute your mic while this is happening, or your earphones while this is happening, you can. I'm almost done with my explanation. Because I'm recording. Yeah, because I'm streaming this to my channel so that I can edit it together, and then whenever somebody asks me a stupid ass question like, "Carl, why do you have such a weird opinion about fucking Steven Universe? Why do you hate it so much?" I can just show them this shit, and they can just leave me alone about it. But where the fuck was I? Ah, yes. So this character stands before her. He's like, "No, you don't understand. He's not the enemy of your empire. I am, because you don't seem to understand that you're the reason why Rose left. Everything is your fault, White Diamond. She wasn't ready for an empire. She wasn't ready for a planet. She was still young. She wanted to see new experiences. What did you want to do? You wanted to make her obey your rules. The same thing you've been trying to force on Steven. The same thing you've been doing to me." And he starts to activate the breaking point and starts forcing it into his gem, making her have to really listen to what he's saying. Because every time she tries to make a step, he starts pushing it deeper inside his chest to try and crack and break his gem, which assumptively would kill him, if not almost kill him. And the reason why that I would do this, I'm not going to go into the whole thing I did because I have a thing written up about this explicit scene, but the reason why that you would do this for this character is because if the point is supposed to be, how do you take a trait like Steven and make him useful and not a retarded character? The way you would do it is by showing what happens when a person is showered with love and when a person is shown nothing but contempt and hate unless they're useful. You make them a very twisted person who hates themselves but also hates the society that made them. And rather than just be destructive and evil and tear shit down because that's something they claim to care about in that series, instead make it so that he understands how to make people listen as captive audiences, because he has to be charismatic. He has to be the things that Steven is not. Well-spoken, articulate, intellectual, able to express his emotions not only through action but also through resolve. Make him stoic, but make him somebody with a rich inner life, and make it clear that he explains it on a level that even White Diamond can understand. "I don't like you. I have never liked you. I'm not your servant. I'm not your precious little mother lode, and you're not my mother zirconium. You're nothing to me, because you are not fit to rule. He is, because he understands people. He cares about people. You don't care about anything except for this diamond authority, and you, Mother Zirconium, are not perfect. You have facets, you have flaws, you shine higher above everyone else, but who can ever outshine your brilliance? How can you see any of us when all you see is the cut and clarity of your own form?" And with this character explaining these things, it makes it very clear that the point, if anything, is that people are not the thing that you see them as. Sure, maybe Steven thinks of his mother as his perfect thing, but she's not perfect. She has flaws, and those flaws make her a person. She makes her character, a personality. I believe the explanation they tried to use for Garnet was it makes her a conversation. But him, he is rigid. He is everything she made him to be. Artificial. And a monologue. A speech, a lecture. And if he's going to go out with a lecture, he's going to make sure she listens to every single word, because every word is a barb. A diamond-studded tip to finally start breaking through and cleaving her the way she cleaved everybody else away from her. And with his final action, he shoves and uses the breaking point on himself and shatters his gem, and says, "You need to understand, this is why she ran, because this is what you were doing to me," and he dies. That character would explain, over the course of a series, with the character to make him an interesting person, because he would have to be a fan favorite. You'd have to find somebody who would express that character. But you make that character work. And it would actually take something that's retardedly annoying about the series and make it interesting. Because now, you want to try to really understand, is there other gems that could think like this? Because this is an artificial being. This is supposed to be someone who's closer to human than any gem has ever shown humanity before. The other gems have emotions, but they still don't fully understand them. They're still coping. They're not all there. This one, how long did he feel like this? What made him think like this? What changed him? And then you tie it all back to Steven. Makes him a useful character. Make it about nature versus nurture. If all you do is nurture a loving person and you give them the room to grow and change and have mistakes and flaws, they can truly become a diamond in the rough. But if all you do is use people like slaves and, well, cattle by all other means, because the human zoos, then all you end up creating is a cycle of violence. And either the cycle of violence comes to take your crown, or it will destroy itself, hoping to seek absolution and escape for a better experience and a better life. Or no life. Because if no one's life matters in such a grand empire, what is even the fucking point of living? What's existence, even? What if he's immortal? What if he's immortal and he just has to go on feeling like this, in this unchanging, unfeeling environment that he's supposed to serve and work for? Why would he ever wish another sentient creature ever have to think the thoughts that he feels? Or, if you really want to get down low and crazy, if you want to make him usurp her by facing her in single combat and putting her at the mercy of his outrage, you have him say some shit like, no, those who have a wish to rule a kingdom must have the will to kill a king. I'm willing to shatter and break you, but if I break you, you will never learn. I have to give you a chance, the same way I gave him a chance, the same way he's trying to give you a chance. So either you try, or, well, I can always show you the love you showed me, mother. Some shit like that. That's a way that you can make that series work. And also now I'm done recording. Away with